This is Modern Persian Food,
a culinary podcast for today's food enthusiast.
We talk about classic Persian flavors,
modern recipes,
and embracing culture and identity through food.
I'm Bita.
And I'm also Bita.
Welcome to our show.
Hi, everybody. Happy 2025. This is the Modern Persian Food Podcast, episode number 174. And today we want to encourage you to embrace cooking Persian food in this new year. Get ready to be the chef in your own kitchen and try making some classics or modern interpretations of your favorite Persian dishes. This is Bita Nazim Kelly. I'm here with Bita Arabian, and we want to explore the essential kitchen tools and gadgets that you need to cook those delicious Persian dishes yourself this year. And the surprising thing, spoiler alert, is that you probably have most of them already. Hi, Bita June. How's it going?
Hey, hi. I'm glad you joined us. Happy to be here.
All right. So we have the episode broken out into two categories. Let's start off with like the basics of these are the basic things that you'll need to make Persian food. And then we can add on by talking about some specialty tools that make Persian cooking easier, faster, and more convenient. So Bita June, you want to kind of start us off with some of the basics that people need to get into Persian cooking themselves this year?
Yeah, let's do it. As you said, most of the things that you'll need to make Persian food, you probably already have. So I think that for me, I definitely need to have my favorite knives, and I have a variety of cutting boards. There's a lot of chopping, fresh produce, herbs. So I really like having different sizes and shapes of cutting boards and knives that'll work for me. I also use the cooking shears for things like fresh herbs. A grater is great to have. And lastly, I do use like a chopping tool sometimes, but that's kind of an optional one. So I think like chopping when I think of Persian food and all the fresh salads and wonderful khoresh, the herby sauces that we serve with rice. And I think about needing to get it to the right size and shape. So that's probably where I'd start with kitchen essentials.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, like a basic knife, I'll use like a small paring knife and also a larger kind of chef's knife, depending on what it is that I'm breaking down. But I mean, the fundamentals of Persian cooking, starting each dish out with like fried onions, for example, is like it's a lot of chopping, and then let alone some salads like the salade d'olivier or like salad shirazi, where there's just so much chopping. So definitely a good set of knives, your cutting boards. Grater, I agree with. I use actually my grater a lot in Persian cooking. Again, from like the onions, grating that to add to your kebabs, or sometimes I'll do that with cucumber to add to my masto khiyar or masto labu, grating up some beets. So definitely those are all really good ones. I'll use like tongs a lot too when I'm cooking, like as a mixing device. So just basic set of tongs also helps too.
Yeah, I love tongs. I have a few of those as well. I have the kind with the rubber on them and the plain metal ones, and they're just nice to have. I'll even use them when I'm doing indoor grilling of corn or eggplant I have a gas stove. And so anything to kind of grab and keep ourselves safe. Tongs are great for that. I also love having a variety of colanders. Mm-hmm. I have small ones. I have medium, large. I use my colanders multiple times a day. I use them in the morning. I use them when I'm opening my pomegranates and in the water and then draining them out. I use them for fruit. I use them for herbs. Obviously, we're washing our produce. So I love having a bunch of different colanders. And then if you're making rice in the stovetop way, then if you're parboiling it and going for a tadig, for example, you're also going to use your colander in that way. So I'll use a different kind of colander for my rice than I do for my herbs and veggies.
Yeah, good point, especially with the rice too. And then I actually like the way colanders look. I'll sometimes just display my fruit or my vegetables that I'm going to be using, like just in the colander. I think it makes a real pretty display too. So it's useful and looks good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've chopped up our vegetables and gotten our ingredients ready, and now let's talk about how we're going to cook them. So I think that a basic frying pan is really essential because you need to be kind of like frying whatever it is that it is. A frying pan is definitely one of the essentials that you'll need to have. You know, that rice, you need to cook it into a pot. So pots are important too, to cook the rice, to let your chodesh stew. Definitely need a pot to add to that list as well.
Yeah, for sure. I currently in the process of kind of updating my cookware, and it's just time. We're on a kick where we're trying to have non-toxic cookware while still having nonstick and trying to control the amount of oil we're using. And so we found a couple of brands that have really nice cookware. And so we've been updating. And then my daughter, who was recently home, tried it out and she wants some. So it's kind of time in our family, but I was just wondering whether you have a particular piece of cookware that you use more than others, Vita June.
I have my go-to pots that I use. It's more like kind of size-based. I like to use kind of like I think it's like a 6-quart like saucepan that I use that I will just end up making when I make small batches of rice in it. And then it's kind of just like my go-to size. And then also like the bigger kind of pot, I think it's like an 8-inch diameter or 10-inch diameter of a pot that I like to use. Actually like fry things in that aren't as deep anyway, but I feel like it prevents the splatter all over my stovetop if I use a pot that has higher sides on it. So that's kind of like a trick that I use. I would say one of my favorite pieces is I got a Le Creuset, like a brazier. It's like a wide, shallow pot that's cast iron, enameled cast iron, and it has a glass lid actually. So it's like one of my favorite pieces. And I love making everything in there from like eggs to like braising eggplant dishes. And it's a beautiful blue color. So I really enjoy having that when I'm cooking.
Nice. The benefit of having that is it goes in the oven as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think it's just so pretty that I'll serve the food in it too. So it'll go straight from like the oven or the stovetop onto the table. And I think it just like looks really pretty.
Yeah, I love that. I love it when you can use it and less dishes to wash, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the cast iron itself kind of contains some of the heat. So it will keep the dish more warm than if you were to transfer it into a different dish.
Nice. Yeah. If I had to pick one, I think that the one I use the most is probably my sheet pans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was also doing some recent organizing for the new year and just trying to clean out and organize my kitchen tools. And my sheet pans are very well loved.
Yeah, for sure.
I do use my air fryer, but I still use my oven a ton. Yeah, my recipe handle oven hug. So I definitely love my oven. And I'm always roasting something, baking something. Yeah, so those get a lot of love. They're quite worn in.
Yeah, the sheet pans are great. I love cooking with sheet pans. I actually will do it a lot and put a layer of parchment paper down. So then it just like makes it clean up really easy. So I definitely love that. Another type of sheet pan, like a roasting pan, like a sheet pan, but with like higher sides. That's how I make a lot of like my bigger batch braised meats. Like when I want to do my lamb shank, or if I'm cooking like a bigger portion of something, I like that roasting pan to like put it in the oven. I cover it tightly with foil. So I feel like that's a go-to of mine as well.
Yes, yes. Definitely use the parchment paper. We like one pan dinners. So we'll often make sheet pan dinners with a bunch of roasted vegetables, tossed in yummy spices with or without meat, maybe with some sliced up sausage and eggplant. And yeah, so it's great. I love how easy it is to make an entire well-balanced meal with just that one sheet pan and parchment, and then really not have anything to wash. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Another kind of basics that you could use for Persian cooking is that you'll see it in every Persian household are the glass Pyrex dishes that go straight from the oven. You can make a mean tachin in one of those, or you can serve your chodesh in there, your stews, and keep it in the oven that way. So I feel like that's definitely one of those Persian household dishes or, pieces of equipment that you'll always find.
Good point. I have so many of those. They were definitely on our wedding registry. So I think I have like my original Pyrex set that has the plastic lid on it. But then somehow everyone started giving me their glass Pyrex dishes. So I have a ridiculous number of those, but they are really, really useful.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So let's kind of start going into some of the specialty appliances. You mentioned air fryer. So let's go ahead and start with that. Tell us more about your air fryer and what you like to cook in it.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with the air fryer. I went through stages of being super obsessed with it, as you probably can relate to if any of you have recently got one. When you first get it, it's like, oh my gosh, this is great. Like I can cook everything in it and it's faster and easier. And I did feel that way for a long time. And plus you can kind of save on oil and you can try to get those crispy results. And I think that if you find one that you love and you can use it regularly like that, then it is all of those things. So I think that if you find one that's the size that you want, that has the functionality that you like, then it's perfect. And I like the one we have up here. My original one retired, it broke down, and then I inherited another one. So I have a large one here. Our Southern California home, I have a mini one, and it just doesn't really do the trick. It's too small. It doesn't really help me. And so I end up just using the oven on convection mode, which is essentially the same thing as an air fryer.
Right.
So I guess those are my 2 cents on it. But I also have been using like a liner for inside the air fryer, because a lot of the things that we want to make in there that might have a sauce, that might have seasonings, and it can be a lot to clean up the air fryer. And so these liners that they have now make it easier cleanup.
What is the liner made out of?
It's parchment. I believe it's parchment.
Okay.
The issue with using a liner is that I think that to get the crispy results, the air is supposed to flow through. So it does get in the way of getting the really crispy results if you want to make your French fry or your crispy vegetable in there or your chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
It's not going to necessarily allow that to have the paper in there, but it's easier cleanup.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I kind of had like a little bit of a different type of experience with my air fryer. When I first got it, I actually didn't use it at all.
Oh.
Like I actually like lent it to someone for a while and stuff. But then once I did start experimenting with it, I've actually have turned a leaf on air fryers, and it actually is on my countertop now most of the time, just because it is super easy to kind of warm things up quickly. And also you can kind of just like not babysit it as much. You can just kind of throw something in there and then let it do its thing. I'm a big oven user. I do like the convection mode or just regular oven. I use my oven a lot, but I feel like the benefit of the air fryer over the regular oven is just that it doesn't take so long to warm up. So if I want to just, turn it on quickly. But I agree with you that at least the version I have it's not very big. So I'm not doing like a big batch. It's like really just for 1 or 2 people, and that's pretty much the size capacity it has. But air fryer will make Persian cooking easier, faster. So if people are looking to kind of add an appliance to their repertoire, air fryer is definitely a good one.
I was just going to agree with you that your point that you made it about an air fryer, that you don't have to watch over it quite as much, is a really valid point. Because I also remember that the toaster oven is great for crispy results. However, you do have to watch over it. So I appreciate that point, that the thing about the air fryer is kind of has like, I don't know why it doesn't burn it like a toaster oven would. I think it's because the way the heat comes up.
Yeah, maybe it rotates out.
Versus the toaster oven having the heat from the top and burning. So that's a good point.
Yes. Let's talk about rice cookers. I think has a little bit of like controversy on like, do you need a rice cooker to cook Persian food? And is it worth it? Is it worth the counter real estate to use a rice cooker? What do you think?
I use my rice cooker every day. However, I switch it up. So I think it's like anything else in your kitchen. You're going to use what works for you and what you have space for and what you're used to and what gives you good results through trial and error. And so I have my old tried and true rice cooker that I've had for years and years that I've replaced over the years. And it's super basic. It's got like an on and off, keep warm, like just a switch. And I'm used to it. I know that it'll give me good results. And so it's small and I like it. And in recent years, I've switched over to making rice in different devices that are steamers / pressure cookers. And so I now can use kind of any multifunction steamer pressure cooker type device and make good rice. And so I think for me, it doesn't really have to be a rice cooker, but I do like the plug and play of an electronic device to make rice personally.
Yeah, definitely. Because you can also, with the rice cooker, what I think is good is that, with those, definitely the ones that are just the on and off ones, you can kind of manipulate them to cook longer to get a crispier tahdig. So I think that's also one of the deciding factors, that if you're looking to have a tahdig every time that you cook rice, then either doing it on the stovetop or doing it in a rice cooker is probably going to be your best bet at creating a tahdig. And then you can do a pretty basic tahdig in the rice cooker, or if you want to empty out the rice and put the oil and saffron and make it like a golden tahdig, you can do that with kind of either options. But if you don't have a rice cooker, stovetop definitely works great. Kind of just pick your favorite pan and you can just do it stovetop, either with the kete method that I usually go to, which is basically you don't strain the rice, or you can do it like the traditional way where you parboil it and strain it and then layer it in.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And make your good tahdig that way. Adding potatoes or other items, yes.
Yeah, good lavash tahdig is unmatched, definitely. All right, let's keep going. So another tool that a lot of people use from cooking Persian food, we use it as well, is an Instant Pot or a pressure cooker, just to get those meats cooked really tender. And again, one of those kind of like plug and play, just set it and kind of forget it type of appliance that you can count on consistent results.
Yeah, I do use my Instant Pot a ton. It works really, really well for khoresh, which is the sauce that's served with rice in a variety of forms. I have a great Fessenjun chicken pomegranate walnut sauce recipe that I make in the Instant Pot. I make a lot of soups in there as well. So I love my Instant Pot.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's one way that people can really get that tender results in an accelerated time frame. So I definitely think that if you're looking to make cooking Persian food faster, you might want to look at an Instant Pot or a pressure cooker. Another one of those type of things are like food processors. You can be very efficient in chopping up everything with a food processor or making a kuku. Those are all great things to make with your food processor.
Yeah, it's time for me to get a bigger one. I have a mini food processor, and for years and years, I've been wanting to get a bigger one, but I definitely use it a ton. I use it to make kashkebadem my eggplant dip. I use it for walnuts that then go into my Fessenjun. I use it for many, many things. So I just find that I need it to be just a little bigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think my favorite thing for the food processor is onions, just because it's like it really helps get a fine grate on it, basically. And you can put that in for your juja kebab marinades or add it for your kubide. So definitely makes it a lot easier. I also use my hot water kettle all the time, especially when I'm cooking and I need to add water. It's nice to add hot water to a dish. Sometimes if I'm making rice on the stovetop, if I don't have enough water, I'll use some of that. Or when I'm making my ash rishte, I love adding just like the hot water to it so I don't have to wait for it to reboil, and it leaves the end product a little bit more light, I feel like, when you use the hot water already.
True. We use ours a ton as well. Beyond for tea, we use it for cooking as well. And I know there's many ways to bloom saffron. I do use mine after I grind my saffron, put a little hot water in there and get a nice bloom saffron to use for my rice and my khoresh and my other dishes.
Yeah, exactly. And you use for like cooking spaces, you also utilize your outdoor grill a lot when you cook, right?
I do, yeah. I mean, we live in California, so I'm able to use it close to year round. I have been getting more and more proficient with that outdoor grill. When I can't use the outdoor grill, I'll use the inside grill, as I mentioned, being careful and using tongs. Mm-hmm. I also have grill pans, which are pans that have grooves in them. They work okay. They don't quite give the same fiery flavor, but I have used my grill pans with decent results. So
we actually love to grill. We have a new grill, but the building that we live in actually, from an insurance standpoint, just changed the rules that we can't actually, that no one in our building can grill on the patio anymore. So we're a little bit bummed about that. But yes, definitely enjoy the grill. And it's so easy. It's easy for like cleanup. So I can't wait till we can do that again. But as of right now, I'm not grilling too much outside on an outside grill. But another accessory that we had gotten and is really fun too, for people who are looking to up their Persian food, are skewers. So the flat kubide skewers, we would use that on the barbecue, but the trick is to not let the skewer actually rest on the grates itself, but to have either like a piece of brick or a rock or something like that that keeps the kebab skewer elevated. So we were messing around with that a lot this last year and playing with the skewers and testing out, how to actually put the meat on the skewer without it falling and keep turning it. And there's a lot of trial and error, but it was really fun and delicious to try around with that.
Fun. I know you guys do some camping and you are well equipped with grilling, at the campgrounds and in the parks and stuff. So I don't think it stops you that you can't do it in your complex.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What about some other accessories? You had mentioned your chopping tool. Do you feel like that does a good job when you want to like cut like things for like salad shirazi and stuff, or does it kind of smash them?
It's pretty good for salad shirazi because you can get uniform size. So if you want it to look perfectly square, it will work for the cucumbers and the onions. And for certain varieties of firm tomatoes, it does sometimes smash up tomatoes. So yeah, what it is it's kind of like a grid. It looks like a grid. And then it has sort of like a chopping lid that comes down. So you lay your vegetable on it.
Uh-huh.
And then there's like a container underneath that catches it all. So it does save time. I don't use it for much beyond salad shirazi, which is the cucumber, tomato, onion salad. So I don't know if it would be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have one?
I don't use the chopping tool necessarily, but another tool that I use when I do have to chop softer things, I use this when I make my salad olivier. I have this little hack that I actually use a cooling rack. And then I put like the warm potatoes and the just freshly hard-boiled eggs. I press them through the cooling rack and it basically breaks it up into little pieces, and then I don't have to cut them by hand. It saves like half of the time that I don't have to chop it up, and it makes the dish itself much easier to make for me than to just individually chop it all.
Yeah, you made a video doing that. It was such a smart hack. Really, really clever.
Yeah, it makes it so much easier.
One that we haven't talked about yet that goes in the oven that I use quite a bit is related to the baking tray or the cooking sheet is a muffin tin. I use my muffin tin a lot. I make tachine cups in there. I make desserts in there. Recently have been making baklava cups that are so delicious and easy in the muffin tin. So I just really like the ability to make individual sized portions in a muffin tin and still be able to layer rice in there, make different forms of tachine, make decadent desserts all in just little individual sizes. So I love my muffin tins.
Yeah, I love muffin tins too. I love them especially for making little kuku sabzi, like little portions of it. It's great for like a party, for a fun little appetizer, and it's all individual. You don't need to worry about like, having so many utensils if you're just doing like little bite-sized type of handheld little past appetizer. So that's always fun. And I like to make my little holiday, like little roll-ups, like kind of like cinnamon rolls, the jeweled cinnamon rolls that I do. And I do those in a little muffin tin as well. So you can definitely make these things without these tools, but it definitely helps make it a little easier. So why do we want people to cook Persian food? Because tell us, why should people try to make Persian food this year?
Well, if you're listening, you probably have some connection and interest. Either you've tried it or you are part Persian or you're married to someone or, you have some connection. So probably you're trying to tie into the culture as well, I would assume, as we are. But it also has health benefits. I think that there are plenty of fresh herbs and vegetables and nutritious aspects to Persian food. And to be honest, if you're just trying to cook for yourself at home in any shape or form, you're controlling what you're putting in to your mouth more, and you know what you're consuming, and that's the first step in kind of making healthy choices. So thank you for listening and taking the time to try to learn some of these strategies and ways of that you probably already have these tools at home. So
yeah, a great way to kind of connect to your culture, or even just like really challenge yourself to try something new. And if you have already tried making Persian food before, a great time to hone in on your skills and try to either make new dishes or find easier ways to make dishes so that you can incorporate them more often into your cooking repertoire and on your table. So gather your tools, pick a recipe, get cooking, send us your pictures and videos. We love to see that. We'll feature you on our social media. And if you feel like you have a friend or someone who might be interested, or some groups of friends that you guys chat about food or Persian food with specifically, send them this episode. Encourage them to participate too. And we can all try new things this year and be happy and healthy, hopefully.
Absolutely. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year, friend.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Bitaju, and hopefully a great year.
Bye. Until next time.
Bye-bye. You've been listening to the Modern Persian Food Podcast with Bita and Bita. Thanks for spending time with us. If you've enjoyed what you heard today, consider telling a friend or giving us a good rating. You can subscribe to our show for free on your favorite podcasting app, or find us online at modernpersianfood.com or on Instagram for the recipes and information we talked about today. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and see you next time.